The last few videos I've made have all been about combat in D&D. But let's get off the topic of battle. Let's unwind a little bit, take a load off, grab a drink, grab a ketchup hot dog. We should talk about the other half of the game. Let's talk about out of combat. The whole idea of most of the martial classes is defined by how they fight in combat. One of the classes is called Fighter. It doesn't get more on the nose than that. So unique out of combat abilities are usually kind of tough to come up with. That is why I say so often that all subclasses should give out an out of combat ability, because sometimes main classes really don't get any. And I don't think the martials necessarily have to be on par with the casters in these out of combat situations, but they should get some fun abilities when a fight isn't happening, right? D&D is cool when you're fighting dragons, but sometimes you're not fighting dragons. Sometimes you're trying to rig a horse race. The druid has convinced half of the horses to turn on their riders, the bard is boosting the speed of the horse you bet on, and the wizard is summoning a demon because he can. What is the barbarian to do? It's a tough question, but the answer is obvious. He throws the horse over the finish line. Here is my pitch for a martial out of combat ability. At level 2, Barbarian, Fighter, Monk, and Rogue get the ability Remarkable Talent. This feature lets you choose between the Chucker feature and the Midnight Monkey feature. Let's start with Chucker. How often has this come up in your games? You're a barbarian and the rogue wants to get onto the roof of a building to sneak in through the skylight. Or there is a pit and the frail wizard cannot get across because he doesn't want to spend a spell slot. Obviously, you'll want to throw them. But how the heck does one do that? What are the rules? What are the rules for caber tossing my senior citizen friend? With the Chucker ability, you can throw any creature or object equal to your size or smaller a number of feet equal to 5 times your martial level. So at level 2, that's 10 feet. That's not that crazy. At level 8, you can throw a creature 40 feet. That's as high as a 3-story building. At level 20, you can throw that old fart 100 feet away. That is a distance longer than a basketball court. At level 10, you can throw creatures one size larger than you. So you could toss a horse, a fighter who had enlarge cast on him, the moon druid who turned himself into a bear. Now I know this is supposed to be the out of combat section of this video, but I dare you to think of one situation where an airdropped bear could not aid your predicament. Bear Force 1 solves all of your issues. Stealing picnic baskets? Easy. Political negotiations? Hard to disagree with a dude when he has a bear by his side and it can launch itself into the 3rd story of a building. Attempting to become a good draft pick for the NBA? You throw a bear and you're gonna be a number 1 pick every time. A close second will be the bear itself. Obviously, the bear would play center. At level 15, you can throw huge creatures. Huge creatures only go half the distance though. So you can toss a hill giant, a bus, or 2 bears tied together. With Chucker, the horse in your horse race is now part of Air Horse 1. There are no rules in the horse racing rulebook that says a big strange man cannot launch a horse like a javelin during a race. Now I know what you're thinking right now. I've thrown my horse, but can I throw the opposing team's horses? What a silly question. Of course you can. If you try and throw an unwilling creature, they must make a strength saving throw. On a failure, you cast your super magic barbarian spell. Kringus crossed, your horse has been tossed! Don't worry about the horse. Horses always land on their feet. It's fine, they also have 9 lives. To represent this incredible equine tossing strength, there is one more bit to this ability. The amount of weight you can push, drag, and lift increases every 5 levels. At level 5, it gets doubled, tripled at level 10, quadrupled at level 15, and quintupled at level 20.
Everyone's getting steroids for Christmas.
So if you have 20 strength as a level 20 fighter, you can lift a female hippo all before needing to make a skill check. If you want to lift more, your DM can ask you to make an athletics check to try and go beyond that weight. And I encourage the DMs to do the same with the tossing thing as well. You could calculate the extra distance by taking the total they rolled on their athletics check and dividing it by 4 or 2, the resulting number representing the extra distance. Or if you want to get wild with it, the total they rolled directly equals the extra distance they can throw. Just huck that horse an extra 20 feet. At a certain point, the horse will no longer be in the bounds of the track, it's going to land in the bleachers. If that does happen, I'm pretty sure that's still legal. I don't know. I don't watch horse racing. I refuse to watch sports where every audience member is required to wear stupid hats. One last thing with Chucker, if your DM says something is too heavy to toss, then you can't toss it. Sometimes life just throws a lead horse at you and you just gotta roll with the punches, man. Lead horses are just part of growing up. But Dungeon Masters, remember, these guys are strong. If they can lift a car, why not let them toss it? What is the worst that could happen? Okay, so we gave strength-based marshals a fun tool to use. Awesome. But what about the dex users? We have not given dex users much. I think all creatures should have some fun tools to use to make the game more interesting, and that includes a DM's monsters. Like maybe a troll should be able to grow a second head. I think that would be cool. Well, with this video's sponsor, the Book of Monstrous Might by TPK Games, you can do just that. This is the book you grab if you want to amp up your monsters in D&D. This was written by an amazing team featuring writers from TPK Games, Paizo, Cobalt Press, and Frog God Games, plus an intro from Luke Gygax. Not only does this book have brand new monsters and playable monster races, but it also offers tons of new abilities you can give to your existing monsters. Do you have a monster you really like but are afraid the party will easily annihilate? Well, this book has tons of specific and thematic abilities for a huge variety of creatures. Like the troll, you would give it the ability to bonus action grow an extra head or extra arms, which gives it more attacks, and then you can have all the arms transform into tentacles, giving it a long-range grapple. It's truly the worst kind of hug possible. The title of this book did not lie. It's also got treasure tables, pre-written adventures, 100 goblin encounters, ways to combine old and new ancestries/races to make brand new ones, and much more. If you want a copy of the Book of Monstrous Might, go to the website on screen or click on the link in the description, and at checkout, use coupon code BONEWIZARD to get 15% off anything in the store. Maybe grab some dice while you're there. So again, check out the link in the description below and use coupon code BONEWIZARD to get 15% off your purchase. And thank you to TPK Games for sponsoring this video. You've been favoring strength users a whole lot during this whole video, you skeletal scumbag. Well, yeah, strength users need it more. Dex users have plenty of skills that can be utilized out of combat, but I still think they should get something unique. So for Dex users, they can take Midnight Monkey. Midnight Monkey enhances their stealth and pickpocketing. For stealth, it allows them to move their full speed while moving in stealth, and they can attempt to hide behind a creature one size larger than them. This will allow rogues and monks to sneak their way in all quick and quiet like. And if they are fighting a monster way bigger than our stealthy boys, let's say a dragon, they could hide right underneath that dragon, going completely undetected, able to walk right under him as if they were never there at all.
Then punch him in the dick!
Also, yes, I did just steal this ability from Lightfoot halflings, and no, I don't care. I don't respect halflings. Why be a halfling when I could be a goblin or a kobold? Creatures infinitely more interesting. Or play a gnome. At least if I play a gnome, I get a funny hat. Halflings are just short, hatless humans. No good lore, isn't even a fantasy creature, legally not a hobbit, no hats. Gonna have to give this the lowest score possible, an IGN 7 out of 10. I blacked out for a hot second. What was I talking about? Right, Midnight Monkey. With this ability, you can hide behind your taller friends, under big enemies, and sneak away quickly after pickpocketing a big scary dude, which the next part of this ability encourages you to do. Whenever you pickpocket something of value from a creature, you also get extra gold. Roll 1d4 to determine how much extra gold you steal. The die you roll increases as you level up. It's the perfect feature for people who become kleptomaniacs when they play D&D. So, me. All my good morals just plummet when I play D&D. I didn't even need to steal candy from that concussed baby. I just did it for the thrill. Now, you only get extra gold when you steal something of value, like money, a potion, a weapon, an artifact, a masterpiece of art. So maybe you steal a key off of a guard and ooh, 3 gold. But you don't get gold if there is nothing to take or you take something worthless. You can't just steal lint from the pockets of a homeless man and magically find 5 gold when he had none. You only get the extra gold from someone who reasonably would have that gold on them. Now, before people try and abuse this, the DM has full control on whether or not this ability activates. No, you cannot pickpocket all of a man's gold, roll for extra gold, then reverse pickpocket the gold back to him, and then pickpocket the gold again so you keep rolling for extra money. You cannot do an infinite money glitch. Use your common sense. Don't be a dick who argues he should get infinite money. If the DM says you can't do it, you can't do it. Now, the dungeon masters watching this might say, well, how is a rogue going to get 8 gold when the commoner he just pickpocketed only had 4 gold? Oh, please. Let's be honest here. You rolled for how much gold they had on them. Let's not pretend otherwise. Just think of this as a modifier to that roll. You do not keep track of the exact amount of gold all of your nameless NPCs have. Do you also keep track of the pH level for crop growing soil across the seasons, including before and after a rainfall? Arguably, that's more important to a society than how many chunks of metal are in their pockets at any given time, but you dismiss it because why the fuck would anyone keep track of these kinds of things? So going back to our horse race scenario, maybe the horse the party bet on didn't win, despite your best efforts. But the winning rider is confused. Where is his prize money and where is his wallet? Moving on, since these are marshals, you know, the guys all about being in peak physical condition, let's give something to both strength and dex users. At level 5, we will give Barbarian, Fighter, Monk, and Rogue Mighty Leap. It increases your jump height by 5 feet and your long jump distance by 10 feet, and that increase happens again every 5 levels. It's a tiny buff. Fun fact, a level 20 monk with Mighty Leap and 10 strength who uses Step of the Wind can long jump 100 feet. That monk should get a better draft pick than the bear. The bear complains to the ref on every single call. One last thing we are going to do for their out of combat abilities is add another weapon technique that can be used on all weapons. If you don't know what I mean by weapon techniques, check out this video. It's about how to buff marshals for combat and make weapons cooler and more fun. It's called Brandish. If you make an intimidation skill check, you can spend 1 use of your weapon techniques to roll the weapon's damage die, and add the number on the die to the skill check. Nelson Mandela once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Well, I think weapons make pretty good weapons, and this sword might not change the world, but it might change where your intestines are in the world. Weapons are scary. The bigger they are, the bigger the scare. So maybe you should listen to the man holding a weapon that is taller than you are? Many D&D players, myself included, sometimes go a whole session without combat. Sometimes it's exploring a town, a lengthy role-playing session, sending a horse to the moon. We never could get that horse past escape velocity, so I think he's still in orbit. There may be sessions where you can't use all of your cool combat abilities, but with Brandish, you can still make use of those weapon technique resources. It reminds people that you are the guy with the cool combat abilities and a sword of flaming bees, so it's probably wise to not make that kind of guy mad. Next week, we are going to buff the marshals by bullying the wizards. Not like nerfing them, but you know, like a wedgie, like a swirly. Well, maybe not a swirly because there's like a lot of blood in that video. It'll make sense. It'll make sense when it comes out. So if you want to see that, consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss that video. And to leave a comment, I respond to those. All that stuff just supports me and the channel, so thank you if you do that. Shout out to the patrons, Panko6, Beefmaster, NoLin46, Manifestrix, Spark Drake, Alex Score, Christopher Cook, Edboy, Fusro Dog, Hayden Tisthammer, James Spear, Mr. Nobody 13, Naima Maori, Owen Hansen, PK Hemi, Poggers Extreme, Seth Muah, Volum, Wet Toaster, Zekiloo, Xander3, and Zap4. Thank you guys so much.